Hello, Dr. Haida. My name is Cynthia Carmona, and I would like to discuss the case study for this week, starting with the approach of Milton Friedman, who states that business doesn't have any social responsibilities. He describes uh, business as such. It's not a person. Only people for him have responsibilities. Corporation as an artificial person might have artificial responsibilities, but business is business, and its only social responsibility is to increase profits. That's his vision. Um, According to him, social responsibility is a doctrine that does not belong to a free enterprise system. All social aspects, meaning providing employment, eliminating discrimination, avoiding pollution, are features of a pure socialist system. He also talks about the corporate executives as individuals. If they want to spend their money in the society, in social responsibilities such as charity or church, his city or country, that's their problem. But in this case, they are spending their own money. When it comes to the corporate executive acting as managing a corporate, and then they want to do something for the society but using the corporate's money, that it's a different issue that he doesn't agree with, because he's saying that this person is using the money that is supposed to go to stakeholders or to the wages of the employees, and or by increasing the price to customers, etc. Um, Basically, all the theory of Mr. Friedman is the reason why many people nowadays consider capitalism as a soulless corporation. It's the way it's seen, um, which only cares about profits. He's against any type of collectivist way of thinking. Um, he wrote a book called Capitalism and Freedom, where he states, and I'm going to citate, there is one and only one responsibility of business, which is to use its resources and engage in activities designed to increase its profits, so long it stays within the rules of the game, which is to say, engages in open and free competition without deception or fraud. Okay, now going to the case study as such that talks about the substance abuse that children are facing in the streets of Honduras, and especially in its capital city Tegucigalpa. Um, well, the case study talks about a glue or different adhesive products under the brand of Resistol that children are using to create a sensation of hallucinations, to get high basically and escape from their very sad realities. The situation in Honduras, and the case study explains it, it's very, very bad, poor. It's the second poorest country in America after Haiti. And well, the figures are looking terrible. There is healthcare is almost non-existent. It's a high mortality rate, low life expectancy, low adult literacy, and there is also no natural resources to develop an economy in the country. So they do need foreign investment, corporates being in the country, and well, the situation described in the case study shows no hope. Kids have to drop their studies, and they have to work on the streets, washing cars, and do whatever it requires to support their families. And because, of course, this is not the life that any kid wants, they are finding this adhesive, this glue that makes them kind of forget, but this has become a drug problem, and it is these kids in the streets of Tegucigalpa are known as resistoleros because they use the adhesive under the brand of Resistol. Uh, Produced by Cativo Chemical Industry, and specifically its subsidiary HB Fuller. They sell more than a dozen of different adhesives under the brand Resistol. Um, Going to again to Freeman theory, a country that had such a weak economy cannot afford to eliminate these products from the market because this corporate has occupied a very strong position in the market in Honduras. But at the same time, they are causing a huge social issue, which is uh, the addiction for this substance among the kids, and they are even dying or suffering from the consequences of this substance. Um, According to Freeman, a corporate would have to find the ways only to be in compliance with the laws of the country, but just keep making money and don't really care about the social consequences uh, of their products. On the other hand, let's talk about Freeman theory, which defends a different concept of managing for stakeholders. The basic idea behind his theory is that business should create value not only for stakeholders but also for the customers, suppliers, employees, communities, and financiers, which are the stakeholders and banks, obviously, but it has to be involved with every other group as well. Um, this is different to the dominant model of business activity that contemplates only the benefit to shareholders. In nowadays world, 21st century globalization, the dominant model of business doesn't work anymore because it is resistant to change and ignores matters of ethics. Uh, in this static model, only shareholders where they are not happy or when they decide, then things are going to change. But as long as they are getting enough money, then there is no room for change. And nowadays, everything is changing constantly. There is a lot of uncertainty and complexity to rely on a strict model as such. Modern business has to be dynamic and it has to be receptive to change. Um, Friedman theory, in contrast to Freeman theory, is the reason why the term business ethics is seen as an oxymoron and people don't believe in fair capitalism. The law nowadays has evolved, it's different over the years, and it's taking more in consideration the minorities, women, uh, black people, every um, sexual groups, and they have to have a place nowadays. And they are interested also in the communities. There is a lot of organizations and movements that defend social rights and environmental issues as well. Um, Freeman theory of managing for stakeholders states more that business it's about how customers, employees, financiers, suppliers, and managers all interact to create value. And the way to understand business for him, for this in the second Freeman, is to know how these relationships work. Um, this is like a modern type of concept of managing. Instead of only how to create value for our stakeholders, would be how to create and sustain the creation of value and how to make that the interests of stakeholders all go in the same direction. So as a conclusion for Freeman, uh, business is about collaboration. It's a, he supports also the free society where stakeholders can create competitive networks, but the fuel for capitalism in his eyes should be the desire to create something of value for ours, for themselves and for others as well. Applying Freeman's theory to the case study, he would take an approach similar to what Beto in the case study tried to do, which was to attempt to change the human behavior to contribute to the society by educating employees about community issues, being understanding and responsive to the communities near their locations, increase their presence in the neighborhoods, etc. In order to achieve that, I think Freeman would agree to invest part of the company's money into social issues. My own opinion is that I don't think any of the theories would support to take off the product, the resistol of the market, based on the poor economic situation of Honduras. They both support free enterprise and capitalism as an economic and political system, but um, Freeman takes the most human approach to the situation, describing capitalism as a system of cooperation, social cooperation and collaboration, rather than only competition. I agree more with his approach. I think in nowadays world, with the power of communications and social networks and the increasing number of organizations fighting for human rights, a big corporate, like any big corporate, could be taken down if actually they are causing a lot of social damage or they are against the ethics of business. Um, I think issues like the substance abuse in Honduras has to be a concern of all the corporations causing it and also the government and every single organization to help find a solution that helps the society but also the economy. My opinion might be influenced by the fact that I was born and grew up in Cuba, where before a socialist type of government took over, a similar situation was prevailing, and it was a very poor country with um, a situation similar, not much about drugs, but yes about the poverty and the economy. And the way the government found the solution was to implement a socialist way to uh, expropriate nationalize every corporate and expropriate very rich families and try to provide every family with the basics to live and increase the levels of healthcare and education. I understand that to do that, they took away from families that worked hard for what they had. They took everything away from them, and that's not fair either. And sometimes it was done not in the best way. So I'm not saying socialist system is the best or capitalism. I would say that in modern world, the advantages or the best features of both should be combined uh, to to create the best way of business possible. Well, thank you very much. Those are my ideas and conclusions about this case study. And well, I'm looking forward to your feedback. Thank you.